From one inquiry to another, the suspended Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Municipality HR head, that's Linda Gxasheka, will face cross-examination when she returns to the Madlanga Commission this morning. Yesterday, she denied protecting suspended police chief. I think he was the acting police chief in Ekurhuleni, Julius Mkhwanazi, from disciplinary action, following revelations that he illegally fitted blue lights to Vusimuzi Cat Matlala's fleet. Gxasheka also warns that corruption in the metro runs far deeper than is currently being investigated. Newzroom Africa's senior politics reporter, Ziyanda Ngcobo, in the room at the Madlanga Justice College, and she joins us now live. Ziyanda, good morning. It's about 6 minutes to go before the commissioners walk into the room there. And today, really, I think the inquiry giving Gxasheka some leeway to present her own statement and her own evidence. Today, it's really going to be down to Matthew Chaskelson and cross-examination.
Absolutely, and it's going to be very interesting given how she's really tried to change the narrative that has been put out there insofar as her role in the protection of suspended acting EMPD chief and now he's a deputy chief in his normal role, that being Julius Mkhwanazi. The 600,000 rand hike to her salary, which she says was approved by council, the Ekurhuleni Metro Council. She says there's nothing untoward because when they headhunt her, the Ekurhuleni Metro that is, she was already in a very senior position from the city of Johannesburg where she had actually come from. And so it's not even something that she says was within her power, and she hopes and prays that the public will see that there was no fraud in that particular regard. But the allegation being put to her very clearly by Commissioner Sandile Khumalo to say that that 600,000 rand would have had to have also, been rubber stamped by the city manager before it made it to council. And if you look at the series of events in relation to Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi insofar as that damning IPID report which made an adverse finding against him for the installation of those blue lights for CAT VIP services, and the upliftment of Mkhwanazi's suspension in that regard, those are all allegations that seem to point towards a level of protection both on her part and that of Advocate Kemi Bihari. Well, her response was that outlining a series of events that took place, a series of meetings that took place, also highlighting that she too was a victim of threats and victimization within the municipality, and how actually it was the suspended chief of EMPD, I beg your pardon, Isaac Mapyeye, who was also fearful of taking action against Brigadier Mkhwanazi, citing what a dangerous man he is, and almost basically saying that they tried to push the buck onto her, that Chief Mapyeye also didn't seem to have any issues with providing security for himself and Xolani Ngciza, the former head of employee relations, but did not think for her and the safety of her young baby. So lots of issues to be ventilated. Cross-examination will be very interesting because of how even Gxasheka citing a meeting that was held in relation to this blue light saga. She said she never knew who Julius Mkhwanazi was until a video circulated in February 2023 regarding this blue lights issue, and that's when it came to her attention in relation to now her having to be involved in the suspension. And by the way, she says that Chief Mapyeye was very selective as to when she should and should not be involved in the issues of punitive measures that needed to be taken against Mkhwanazi, but nevertheless also citing how it was actually an instruction from Dr. Imogen Mashazi to uplift that suspension because the investigation, it would seem, had not gotten far. And that's at least on her version, Michelle.
Yeah, and in fact, we're seeing now that other witnesses who have testified before the Commission on this issue, particularly Imogen Mashazi, her name has also come up. And the evidence that we heard yesterday from Gxasheka is that Gxasheka had appetite to extend the suspension of Julius Mkhwanazi, but it was Imogen Mashazi who ordered that the suspension be lifted. I know you're keeping an eye on the commissioners walking in, Ziyanda.
Well, Michelle, the reason why I turned around is because the Madlanga Commission Secretary, Dr. Nolita Vuguza, walking in to announce that the Commission will begin proceedings at 10 a.m. this morning and not the usual 9:30 start, which would have been in the next minute or so. And if I heard her correctly, because I was also still trying to listen to you, I think she was saying that there are still some deliberations that they're trying to conclude. So 10 a.m. is now the start for today's proceedings. I wonder then what those deliberations would be in relation to, because by and large yesterday proceedings were quite smooth, and you know, everyone seemed to have the necessary documentation, because you'll know, Michelle, some of the issues that have been raised has been about the exchange of documentation. So we'll probably hear at 10 a.m. Because the Commission chairperson, Mbuyiseli Madlanga, is quite transparent about issues, perhaps as to why we are starting late. But Matthew Chaskelson did walk in earlier. I see Advocate Thabang Poe is seated. I think she has been assisting the chief evidence leader. So he walked in briefly and then walked out. So it appears for now that there are deliberations that are underway, and we won't be starting as we now hit 9:30 on the nose. Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, we know the extent of the work that the Commission has to do. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what the chairperson has to say about this 30 minutes delay. So we'll speak to you just before the Commission begins. Ziyanda Ngcobo live to us there in Pretoria.